Good morning, Divine Change and Progress, Gray. Good morning to you. Good morning to those of you who've already logged on. You're already on. Good morning. Welcome to Coffee Time. Give everybody a couple of minutes just to get on here. Um, so when you log on, why don't you say good morning to me? Speak. I'm speaking to you. Say something to me so I know you're there. Good morning to every to everybody. Hopefully you had a peaceful night's rest. There's some things, of course, that is stirring in my heart, brewing in my heart. I'm at somewhat of an unrest, and I want to talk about it this morning. Chanel Bracy, what's up, Chanel? Tasha Renee, good morning to you. Dewan McIntyre, good morning. Tasha Renee, I got an opportunity to see your daughter on social media. What a beautiful young lady. What a beautiful young lady. Good job. Good job. Dewan McIntyre, good morning to you. Rhonda Oliver, good morning. Renee Easterling, good morning. Welcome to Coffee Time. It's been a while since I've been able to do Coffee Time in the morning. Normally I catch y'all around 12 noon, but I'm a morning person. The problem is, had a series of events that happened, and as a result of that, my sleeping track is off. So I've not been going to bed till 3, 4 in the morning. And as a result of those late hours, it's been a little rough getting up, you know, um, early. It's been rough. So y'all pray for me as I pray for you so we can get through this together. So, uh, you know, whenever you have to talk about, and then this is how I want to kick it off because it's going to lead to where I'm going. Whenever you have to explain justice, that is a problem. Whenever there has to be an explanation on what's right, righteousness, what's right. When righteousness has to be explained, that is a problem. So on Sunday, I don't know if you all saw the video, but I think I posted it Monday. I posted it Monday in Facebook. They basically did what Facebook do, but the video is still on my page of the shooting from Justin Blake. And I'm gonna tell you, I have an iron stomach, and it bothered me bad. It bothered me bad. It bothered me real bad. Uh, Michelle Shah, good morning. Erica Austin, good morning. So looking at that shooting of Justin Blake, I love what the NBA has done, uh, what baseball has done. They're taking a stand. Basically, we're not going to entertain you while you kill us. I want to recommend a book to everybody. If you've not read it, it's an old book, but I'm telling you, it's powerful. You know what? I knew something was missing. Y'all give me a second. But let me recommend the book. There we go. My bad, y'all. Um, okay. Can you all still hear me? Hopefully, good. Let me recommend the book. It's 40 million dollar slave. Make sure you get that book. But when I see what the NBA has done, as it relates to how they are handling uh, this protest. The WNBA, the players have boycotted the NBA. The players have boycotted and refused to finish the season. And the NBA has followed, the WNBA has followed suit, which I think is good. I think it's necessary. But I think we need help because with all of the boycotting that we've been doing, this is not a new problem. This injustice, systemic racism, murder, this is a 400-year-old problem. 462 years, I think, to be exact. And we need help. This is one of the problems that I have with people who have a platform, a stage. They have influence in our world, and they do not use their influence to help us. And I really believe from the pulpit to the stadium to the courthouse, if you are not using whatever means you have to help those of us who do not have a voice, then you too are a part of the problem. Dr. Martin Luther King said, "It wasn't the words of my enemies, but the silence of my friends." And whenever a person does not speak out, this is one of the reasons I don't know if I told you all this, but when I started speaking out just a few months ago about racial injustice, especially in the church, you've got white preachers who have the influence, the money, and the people. And you've got black people who supported white ministries over the years. They've taken their hard-earned money to support these ministries that at the head are white ministers, white pastors, preachers. And black people have supported them, helped build these ministries, helped financially support these ministries. You ask any white pastor who their most faithful members are, and they're going to tell you black people. Because black people don't have a sense of entitlement. You can't feel entitled to something you've never had. We're just happy to be there. And the power that comes with that influence, when it is not carried out, when a white preacher, black preacher, does not use the influence that they have to help better the people that are serving that ministry, it's a slap in the face of God. It's a slap in the face of God. Jesus left the 99 for the one. There were 99 sheep. There were 100 sheep. One was in trouble. And he left the 99 to save the one. And instead of helping us, they find every excuse in the world where they don't have to engage. They promote or find some issue that they can promote to somehow relieve them from doing the right thing. And that's what I want to talk about this morning. I want to talk about heart-forming lies. I want you to, I really want you to see the level of evil that has to be planted in the heart of a person. I want you to see that the consciousness of humanity has been intoxicated with pride to the point that many people in power have convinced themselves that they are within their right to not stand up for what is right. So, when we talk about heart and then forming lies, did you not know that you have an innate ability to know right from wrong? You know, no one taught you, no one taught you. You came out knowing. Now, you also came out rebelling. Before you can do something wrong, you have to be able to convince your heart through justification that what you're doing, even though it's wrong, is not wrong. So there's this conversation, there's this ruling, there's this governing board that sits on your heart. And before you do anything wrong, there are checkpoints that you have to sign off on. And it begins with justifying. You come up with a plan. And this is to a person who has a pure heart. This is how it starts. You come up with a plan, an idea. I'm going to get this person back. Well, the justification generally falls on the side of what that person has done to me, right? So what we do is the heart, even though it was, one writer said, you know, we're born in sin and we're shapen, fastened into iniquity. In other words, iniquity takes its course in us. It grows with us. It grows in us as we discover our weaknesses, as we discover our humanity. The weakness of sin that is already in us finds its way outside of us, and it is fashioned around the things that we are weak in. So, as much as y'all want to say, you know, you were born whatever, you were not born that way, but the weakness was there, and whatever you feed will grow. There's a fight in all of us that we have to go against what is in us in order for us to gain proper posture in righteousness. There's a right way of doing things. And here's another thing. Why do you have to be convinced that God's going to bless you in order for you to do right? Why does there have to be candy at the end of the trail just for you to do the right thing? You ought to do what's right because it's the right thing to do. And in doing right, believe it or not, the body flows in harmony with that heart. So when you tell a lie, when you do something wrong, there's a convincing of the heart that has to be done before you carry that evil out. Now, we justify it in many different ways. I never forget some years ago, I was at work. I was working for myself, but I was at my office, and I get a call from my daughter. She was frantic. She was crying, and one of her white neighbors in her neighborhood where she was living had called her out of her name, said some things to her, and ran up on her. Now, I tell my children all the time, you can't stop how people feel and what they say about you. You got to ignore that and keep moving. What concerned me is that whoever this was had enough guts, the unmitigated gall, to run up on her while he was slurring racial terms called her some of the most ugliest things that he could say. And what concerned me wasn't what he said, it was the actions that he took. There's some white people in this country, and if my white sisters and brothers are listening, I want you to understand when we say white privilege, that is a blanket word that covers a lot of different things in a lot of different areas. This gentleman, Caucasian guy, felt justified in running up on my daughter, calling her these names. And when I asked her, well, how did it break out? What happened? And over the course of a few months, when they had moved, this white couple had moved there, this guy let it be known he don't do black people. And you can see it because she explained a few times how she said good morning. They never spoke. And you can't change a person. They have every right. You don't have to speak. What we know to be courteous is not necessarily legal. So they wouldn't speak. One time my son was there with my daughter, and my son talked about how he was going up the stairs and she was behind. No, the white couple, the wife, had a small child, and they were going up the stairs. My son was probably maybe 4 feet behind them, and there were 2 flights of stairs. And when they got to the second flight, the wife just turned around and said, "Stop following me," and screamed in panic. So there's somewhat of a history of small encounters with this family. And this particular day, he ran up on my daughter. Well, he ran up on the wrong one that day. As a father, I left work. I had on a full suit. And I went and challenged his authority. I won't tell you what I did, but I will tell you I challenged his authority. In challenging his authority, the police was called. And this is what the police said. I just said this way. He never bothered her again. But the mere fact that any human being believes that they are superior of another, not based on financial status, education status, just because of your color, you have some sense of entitlement, that is mental illness. Now, we've called it a whole lot of things. We've called it hate. That's mental illness because the thermostat in your mind is completely off. That causes you to believe you're better because you're lighter. And in the heat of the moment when I'm addressing this guy, there are checkpoints in my heart. One of the checkpoints was, boy, you going to jail. That was one of the, well, this is me. I don't care. Look at the crime. And it merits, what I'm getting ready to do merits going, it was something I was willing to go to jail over. But what I'm trying to get you to see is that even as I'm dealing with what I believe to be justice, that's what I believed it was. I got to serve you justice. You're in violation. And as I begin to pursue my personal commentary of justice, as I begin to release justice, there were things that I had to bypass in my mind. You know, In rage, I took the door off the hinge. In rage, just rage. And when I started to come to, there were checkpoints in my mind that I had to sign off on before I went to the next level. And that is what happens with evil and good. You have to condition your heart that evil is okay in order for you to carry it out. So this is not. I said this last night. If you didn't get an opportunity to check out PDT last night, uh, myself, Gene Dot, A Train. I said this last night that there's a difference between a person who in weakness, that they're having a weak moment, and in weakness certain decisions are made. And we were talking about last night, we were talking about basically it was sexual morality. And there's a difference between a person under pressure or in a weak moment. They're having a weak time and they make certain decisions because this weakness is pulling them in to a place where they don't want to be. That's one type of person. And then you have another person where weakness is their bed. Evil is their bed and their bread. And the two examples that I gave, excuse me, one example was the example that I gave was Peter and Judas. Another example that I often give is a lamb and a pig. A lamb, you clean that lamb up, that lamb gets dirty, it gets caught in the mud, that lamb cries out, bah, bah, because the nature of the lamb is not to be in muddy places. You take that pig, you can clean that pig up and put a after 5 on it. When that pig gets in that mud, it wallows. It's Charmaine Stevens. Good morning to you. Ron Armstrong, good to see you, my brother. When you put that pig in the mud, it wallows. It sings, it eats in the mud. It loves slop. Why? Because of its nature. So the difference between a lamb and a pig is the nature. And as long as there's an issue and a cry against the issue that you're in, there's hope for the heart. But the moment the heart stops to cry because of the issue and it agrees or it's in harmony or agreement with the issue and it's no longer a problem, you're no longer fighting it, you no longer have to bypass checkpoints in your soul. When you become one with that issue, that's when there's a problem. Your nature has changed. And the other example that I gave was Peter and Judas. Peter got into a situation and that pressure was on. He's looking at Jesus hanging on that cross. They're getting ready to crucify Jesus. And they say that's one of them over there. And Peter like, no, player. No, I don't know what you're thinking. That ain't me. And they say to Peter, they say to the others again, hey, he was seen in the synagogues with him. He was seen in the street. I'm telling y'all, he's one of them. And Peter tell him, player, bruh. Now I keep telling you now that ain't me. And as the pressure grew, the weakness manifests. They said it again. He is one of them. And at this point, Peter was like, let me tell you, mother father, something. You little mother fathers, and I ain't gonna tell y'all no more. I ain't with him. And what y'all are doing, I want no part. That is weakness. Now, Judas betrayed Jesus and did it with a kiss. He used something a form of intimacy that literally causes for celebration, he uses that intimate moment, that kiss, symbolically to betray the one who had been looking out for him, the one who called him, the one he called Lord. And the difference between Peter and Judas, they did the same thing on paper. On paper, both of them betrayed. You say, well, nah, Peter denied him. Judas betrayed. Well, denial is betrayal. You can't deny without betraying. But the difference between the two, Peter was having a bad day. Judas had a bad heart. And when we look at injustice of any kind, social injustice, racial injustice, gender injustice, these injustices has to pass certain checkpoints in the heart in order for them to be justified and carried out. And you can coach your heart into evil doing, where now evil has changed your heart and become your nature. It's the practicing of the soul. It's the practicing of the soul. Whatever you feed is what will grow. Am I too loud? Y'all help me out here. I'm getting excited. Am I? Erica Austin, thank you. Am I too loud? This is a good question from Ron Armstrong. I need you all to let me know if I'm too loud. If so, I need to turn this mic down. I don't want to burst your eardrums. Okay, I'm not too loud. Okay, thank you. So let me answer this question. LaQuinta Perry, good morning. Thanks for joining us. How do we lead? Ron Armstrong says, how do we lead? How do we lead this if those with platforms or influence won't? This is a tough one. My bro is on, y'all. I have a lot of brothers, and when I say brothers, I mean brothers. Like blood wouldn't make us closer, but my bro, Mo Henderson is on. Y'all give it up for Mo. That's my brother. Y'all give it up for my brother. Give it up. Thank you. Thank you very much. So Ron Armstrong, we have to use whatever we have to try to change the system in this world. This system is a result of a cistern, and we have to use whatever influence we have, whatever is tangible, whatever is in our reach, to try and cry out against these injustices. And we cannot, it's unfortunate, but we cannot wait, rely, or depend on those who have large platforms to be our voice. We have to, at our level, whatever level that is, in our sphere of influence, wherever that is, we have to use our voice, our actions to help promote change. Change. I say this to you: a eagle has a huge nest. That eagle also has the advantage of being one of the largest, smartest birds that can see the furthest. It sees far
The strength of an eagle is great, and the nest that eagle builds is strong, and it abides in high altitudes. So the eagle has somewhat of a disadvantage to get us to see and understand the position, the place, the strength, and the craft, the skill set that is behind building the nest. Now you take an ant. An ant is one of the smallest insects of them all, and this ant does not have the advantage of size. It does not have the advantage of strength. Uh, However, there are some ant mounds that are just as big, wide as a eagle's nest, and it's because the ant doesn't see advantage or disadvantage. The ant sets its mind on building the mound, and it works in harmony with other ants to accomplish the goal. So what we have to do, I sometimes I feel like I'm an ant, and I just have to take my piece, my corner of influence that I have, and try to affect it to infect change and change the effects of our community, of our people. So it's each one reach one. It's everybody has something. It's take whatever piece you have, no matter the size, and use it to influence a better way. Now, that is that is what I believe we all should do. We should all take. I don't care if you work at McDonald's. You can use your voice there in wisdom to help infect change by affecting and being the change, and it would change the effects of outcome. And I believe that's what we're supposed to do. Um, Now, in understanding this, y'all know, especially when it comes to heavy issues like this, I have to add light moments just to dissect it, think about it. So I need y'all to do me another favor. Give Mo Henderson a hand. Y'all. All right. Thank you all for complying with my childlike nature and doing me a favor and giving Mo hands, Mo Henderson, Mo hands. So, so I believe that everybody has and is responsible to influence change in their sphere of influence, whether it's dialogue, it could be running for office, it could be starting your own business. One of the reasons I believe if enough of us live our purpose, our God designed purpose, your purpose gives you influence in your field. With that influence comes power. With that power, you can enforce or use that power to create change. Too many of us settle for what's been given to us, and we never rise to take the seat of who we were created to be and do the things that we were created to do. And because we don't take these, seats that we are called and created and we were designed to be in, to live in, to run, when we don't, the compromise of that seat kills the influence and the voice that you should have had in that field. You know, when I talk about ownership, I've got spoke with my uncle. I have an uncle, and his name is Pastor Russell Williams. Um, I have a cousin, his son. He took out an insurance policy on his son, a life insurance policy, a couple of policies, I believe. And when his son got married, he withdrew a percentage of that policy and gave it to his son so that his son would not incur debt in starting his family. So his son was able to pay cash for his condo, cash for his car. So starting out as a family, the son had cheese to maneuver and did not have the pressure of this world on his shoulder because his father made the right financial decisions. This is the type of influence we as a people need, and we need to create generational wealth for our seed so that they are an heir to something that gives them a better voice in life. Even the Bible talks about a broke man shouldn't say anything at the table, because what gives us influence on this side is money. Your influence, your influence, it literally equates to dollars. Let me show you how. Um, Whatever it is you do, whoever it is you have influence with, if you were to tell them that there was something great going on for a small investment, I can guarantee you those that you have influence over, they will buy into it, not on the credibility of the results, but the credibility of the character of the one who has the influence. And Alicia, good morning. So that influence brings wealth. What you know brings wealth. And I talked to my uncle this week. I wanted to, he's coming on. It might be today, maybe tomorrow, but we're going to have this conversation because there are some foundational things that we as a people have missed. And it is robbing us from having a voice and being able to have a seat at the table to make change. You know, we're excited about one of us making it, but that one should go in there and make change and make way for others. Every community does it. Our Jewish sisters and brothers, they look out for our Asian sisters and brothers. They look out for each other. Caucasians look out for each other. And we as a people, we have to do the same by understanding who we are, exercising what we have, and gaining the influence that comes with the position that we've been granted based on the occupation that God has called us to. We can make a difference. We can. We can. Collectively, we can together. The quickest way to make change is by refusing to support businesses and personalities who have not loaned their voice to help us. You know, my entire life I've been a basketball fan. I was raised in the Jordan era, so I was a huge Michael Jordan fan until I saw what he didn't do in his community with people that looked like him. So off the court, and I think since then he's made changes. Um, who knows why? Maybe he's getting old and he sees the reality. If you look at some of the things that he said in The Last Dance, he said that he wasn't trying to be a spokesman. He was just focused on winning, 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 winning. Well, winning a game at the expense of not using your influence to help people that look like you, you've already lost. I don't care how many championships you've won, because you choose commodity over conviction. You choose commodity over humanity. And he said he didn't want to do anything that would distract them from winning a trophy. If that is the height of your call, then your height is real low. So I followed players in the game. One of the players that I followed was Shaquille O'Neal. I was very, very disappointed in Shaq. And since then, I unfollowed him and a few others that have these platforms. And when Colin Kaepernick took the knee to raise awareness in social justice, you had black people like Shaq saying that that wasn't the way to do it. It's a disrespect to those who have served in the armed forces. Well, what is the right way to protest? Yeah, this is my problem with everyday Americans like y'all and me, is that we look for reasons. We know there's something we should do, and we find reasons to not do what we should do and to justify why we aren't doing it, and we train our soul to lie. So now we start telling these lies. The heart turns from truth, and once the heart gets into a certain position away from truth, it can no longer understand, interpret, or even speak truth because it's so far away. The lie has become the bread. And when you train your soul to bypass truth, you become the lie. You become what's in your heart. And as you are in your heart, so are you in life. Wayne Benedict, good morning, my brother. Not only understanding who we are, but understand that we think differently, and that sometimes is a problem in our community. Um, but you know the problems that we have. Let me give you this real quick. 99.9% of the problems we have in our community came from the root of it, lost identity. They brought us over here, which created a wedge between us and our past. Okay. They brought us to this country, and the first thing that they began to do was change our language, change our look, and change what we understand. They domesticated us to a point of understanding that they were superior. They use many different means and resources to help with the retraining and the stripping of identity, the retraining of the mind. And they used a lot of resources to do it. They even used the Bible. One of the reasons people don't like the Bible is how the Bible has been used in recent years. It's been used as a tool to further in the hearts of evil man their objective of gaining control over the black life, the black mind. So they use scriptures out of context because when they could not win us with word, they saw that our heart was with God. So they used God and explained him in a wrong way to gain an advantage over our soul. One of the things that I always hear, people say the problem in the black community is we don't have fathers in the home. We never did have fathers in the home. That's nothing new. Let me tell you why. They didn't bring us over here as a family. They brought us over here in pieces. They ripped our family unit apart. The heart of the soul and the foundation of the heart is embedded when it is with like or around like species. For instance, one of the greatest torments known to man is to stick him in a hole by himself. That man will lose his mind because we were created to be in and around like species. That's not just in regards to marriage, but that's in regards to community. When we don't have, or there is no resemblance of self anywhere, there can be no community. So they strip us by tearing the family apart. They took isolated souls. They took black men. They sent us to war to defend the country, while other black men were building this country. So they worked us on both ends of the dial. Now, our wives and our children were left to fend for themselves at the hands of slave owners. Um, so the tearing or the stripping of identity came at a very high cost, but the men were never in the home because if we weren't fighting, we were building. When they decided, when families start pairing, they'd rip them apart. So in America, there is no history of a solid black family because of slavery, war, and we had to build this country. So you take a people who have their identity has been stripped. They don't know who they are. They don't know where they are. They're singing in a strange land. Now, you know, one of the things that brought our freedom, contrary to probably what you've learned in your history books, there was a war where we were fighting for America, black people, black men, fighting for America. They sent us to war with no guns, no tools, and we won the war. The British saw how we fought and won the war. So the British offered us freedom. Hey, if you come fight for us, we'll give you your freedom. And it was at that moment when America saw that there was another ally that was willing to free us. America knows she can't fight and win against us. So her next objective is to beat us in the mind. If she beats us in the mind, we will defeat ourselves. This is why many of us feel less than. We don't feel worthy. It's hard for us to embrace the true identity of who we are. And then you have religious experts that proclaim, and these proclamations that I'm the head and not the tail, above and not beneath, the lender, not the bar. It's hard for us to believe that because our identity has been stripped. Why should I believe for more when I don't even feel that I'm worthy of what I have? So not feeling worthy now leads me down a rabbit hole of nothing and nowhere. So instead of getting a job, making myself better, I don't have an identity that gives me the foundation to build something great. So I agree with what society has said about me. I agree with what I see. So the only thing that black people at large do in this country is play sports. Our women are video girls, video vixens, pornography, strippers. We sell drugs. Here's why. We shouldn't be demonized for being in these fields, but being in these fields is a result of miseducating the Negro. So whenever you search for identity from the same system that had you in slavery, you will never become who you were created to be. If there's going to be true identification, then you have to separate yourself from the system that the master put in place to keep you oppressed. So you can't talk about black people in this country and the problems we have without going to the root. We deal with the fruit of the problem, but we do not deal with the root. The root of the problem is we were not brought here to be a family. We were not brought here to be equal. We were not brought here to have the luxuries that Caucasian Americans have, European Americans have. So they changed our name. They call us the Negro. They call us black. call us African Americans, Afro. There's no solid foundational identification of the black person, because the moment we begin to identify who we are, nothing can stop us. If you don't believe me, I can call to the witness stand a young lady by the name of Harriet Tubman, who had watched slavery being carried out, and her, by the grace of God, created an underground railroad, a route. She bartered, she gained partnerships from people on the other aisle, the same white people that had us in slavery. Their sons and their daughters saw things differently, and they partnered with Harriet Tubman to create the Underground Railroad to get black people free. And the same thing that was happening then is happening now. You got some black people that are so accustomed, they've grown accustomed to licking massa's hand and living a plush life. At least that's how they think, because they're an in-house nigga. They are so accustomed to licking massa's hand until, even though there's this beautiful road that leads to freedom, they will not embrace it, because their comfort have become their slave master. Let me tell y'all something about these jobs. And I'm not knocking what you're called to do, because I don't know. But the average job is hush money, so you don't have to define and work towards your true purpose. It's easier to work a 9 to 5 because you know where your money's coming from than it is to take a risk and step out and do something that will make your name embedded in history. So Harriet Tubman now had to kill some of the people that she was trying to bring to freedom. Because if she let them turn back, not only would they expose the Underground Railroad, but they would also kill those that had the heart to fight and to change. And it's the same thing now. People like Shaq, people like Charles Barkley, they've been their conscience has been rocked to sleep in comfort because of what they have. So they are no longer on this side of the struggle. And because they were able to make money coming out of high school playing a sport, it put them in a different tax bracket, which put them in a different neighborhood, which placed them around different people, and they became closer to the puppet master. This is the danger of inheriting financial success. Most of our character and who we are has been built in the struggle, and without the struggle, there are certain lessons we would not have learned. One scripture talks about it, and it says, in a great house, there are vessels of honor, vessels of dishonor. And in that same passage, it says that a slave, no, it says an heir to the throne is no greater than the slave. What is it talking about? In other words, there's someone living in the house. He's the heir to the throne. He's going to be the next king. He's going to rule next. But his position is no greater than the slave, because he's not reached a place of maturity to have what belongs to him. It's maturity that defines your inheritance. It's your show, your voice, so much respect. However, you need to have another objective voice or view. Now that's my brother, and I know he means well in saying that. Um, there are many different objectives, many different views. That's not the vision of coffee time. The vision of coffee time, the way God gave it to me, was it was my voice that He chose. I didn't choose this; He chose me. And this platform has been built to challenge how we think, challenge how we see, which ultimately will challenge the position that we are in. So I have to stay true to the fiber of what this is, even though there are other shows that I do where I do bring on different people. Even times with Coffee Time, I bring on different views, but that's not what this is. So much love to you as well, my brother. Um, so the thing that we have to understand is, and I think it's I think we have to be careful in telling people what they need to do, especially when we don't understand the call of what's being done. I defend my call, so I don't need to have another objective or voice. There are other objectives, there are other voices on other platforms, and anybody that feel I need to, maybe you need to change the channel or change who you watch. Coffee Time, it's Terrance Pickett. It's what the Lord has given me, and I can't do anything but do what He's given me to do. So we have to challenge the seat that we're in. We also have to challenge uh, the fiber of our consciousness. Harriet Tubman had to kill people because they would turn around, trade them in, and then expose the Underground Railroad. And in exposing it, the pathway to freedom has been cut off because you got some knuckleheads that don't want to do the work, take the risk to change their generation. We are the sons and daughters of people that were marched to freedom through the Underground Railroad. And it's the same thing now. People like to take the easy route, the route of comfort. Comfort is not our bread. There's nothing that we do that's comfortable. Even working a 9 to 5, and I'm not knocking a 9 to 5, especially if that's what you're called to, but I'm talking about the mentality that is attached to comfort. That's what I'm after. Even if a 9 to 5 brought you some level of comfort, did you not know more work is going to be done with you on that 9 to 5? And that same work could be exercised to build something that gives you more of a say, more of influence, and cause you to change the social stream of injustice that is happening now. But people aren't willing to take the chance. And again, I say to you that most of these jobs that we work is hush money. It's hush money, so you don't step out and do what you're really called to do, to infect, affect, and effect change. When a person begins to mature, they begin to wake up to the reality of who they are. You can go against the things that are in your heart and train your soul to walk away from truth, to the point that when you hear truth, see truth, you won't be able to recognize it because your soul is so far away. That is the danger of buying into a lie. That's the danger of buying into a lie. Let me say this to you. I want to encourage all of you this morning to really seek God, pray about your place in the earth. I do not believe that all of us have the same call. Our calls differ, our giftings differ. There's the difference of the call, the difference of the gift. We're different parts of the body, but we are one people. When we begin to establish our identity, when we begin to establish our identity and take confidence in who Yahweh says we are, Yeshua the Messiah, when we take the confidence that we're able to get from the identification that the Creator has outlined for us, instead of adopting the ideology that the media gives us, we'll be able to stand together with one force and overturn anything and anyone who is against us. We have an obligation to change history. We are obligated so that our children and our grandchildren aren't in the same bondages that we are in. No, largely in part, there is each generation, there's more information that is made available through technology. So a lot of the things that we're able to do it because technology has expanded. It's through the expansion of technology that we're able to have a greater voice and help build greater influence. I said that because so many times when it comes to launching what you believe you should do, it seems as if it's so much until you get going. That is the philosophy of the lie that hangs around something that is new. It always seems complicated until you start doing it. And it's in doing it that you see it really wasn't as hard as I thought. The war is in getting started. Sometimes starting is winning because of what you've had to work through just to get going. I wanna circle back for a second. So that's identity. You've got to embrace who you are from the Father's perspective. Who is the Father? Yahweh, Elohim. Oof. He has established who you are based on who he is. So we should listen to his words as it relates to who we are. And then we've got to flush that our other garbage that society is feeding us down the drain. I was talking about who we are as a people. And one of the things I'm telling you, the rewiring of the mind creates the desolation of the soul. So the soul becomes detached from the mind, and the soul has its thought, the mind has its thought, and they're no longer in harmony because of how and who and what we choose to believe. America has done a wonderful job at deceiving us from our true identity and blaming us for the problem and problems that occur right now. America has done a wonderful job. One of the things that America has created, it's called black on black crime. America will tell you in a minute that the reason black people have more violence and more crime and poverty exists is because there are no fathers in the home. And what America does, America is guilty at getting to the root, right? Killing the root so the tree stops growing. Then America will blame the soil for the death of the tree. They won't talk about what they put in the soil. And what America has done to black people is the genocide of the mind. They infect us with lies about who we are. They advertise and market stuff that really doesn't exist, like black on black crime. Let's talk about black on black crime, why it's a hoax, why it's a lie, and why it's just another thing that the media uses to take or steal the attention away from the root of the problem. All right. The root of the problem for black people in America is a system that was built off of the evil hearts of black men, white men, who wrote well but lived wrong. The same people that wrote that Constitution that says all men are created equal were the same people living with slaves. The same people that talked about the freedom of choice were the same people that were taking black people choices from them. The same people that wrote the laws, freedom of speech, are the same people that decided you can't speak because you're black. All right. They justified it by saying that we were not fully human. Remember, I told you all earlier, in order for a lie to take the snowball effect, there are certain parts of that lie that has to pass the basement of your soul, checkpoints. So there has to be justification if there's going to be an untruth. Every untruth and injustice it's birthed through the realm of justification. I got to justify it in order for it to become a reality. They talk about black on black crime. There's no such thing as black on black crime. You say, well, in order for us to stop police from killing us, black people have got to stop killing each other. And you think you sound so educated. That is the most ignorant thing that you can say. Here's why. 68% of all Caucasians are killed at the hand of Caucasians. 68%, 71% of all black people are killed at the hands of black people. But how many of you hear the narrative of white on white crime? Jews kill Jews. Do you hear Jew on Jew crime? Asians kill Asians. Do you hear Asian on Asian crime? It doesn't even sound right. You can't even really form your mouth to say it correctly. But there's a flow to black on black crime, because that is the lie that has been pumped into society by the media to get your attention off of what's true. And they control the narrative by leading you down this pigeonhole of believing that the problem with black people is black people. No. Murder and crime happens as a result of proximity. You don't wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to kill somebody black today. No, it's normally neighborhood stuff. It's community. It's community stuff. It is. This is why I believe we need to have black men policing black communities, because there's a kindredness. There's an understanding. Just because I twist my hair and have braids, I have a gold or earring, that doesn't make me a criminal. But if you're not raising my community around my people, you won't see it that way. And you begin to demonize me for something that our culture is responsible for. And now I'm killed because of culture and your lack of understanding. I'm totally against white men policing black communities. When white men police black communities, we have Justin Blake, who is shot point blank range. Why did that white officer feel so? They chased him around the car. At any given time, they could have took more steps or at least jumped and apprehended him from getting inside of the vehicle. Some people say, well, he shouldn't have been walking from the police. Oh, like George Floyd, who was already in custody? It didn't stop him from dying. Not only was he already in custody, they had a handle on him. In fact, choked the life out of him while he was in custody. There is no winning if you're black. You can't just create all of these scenarios and narratives and say that things would have been different if the victim had. It's just another excuse to justify the lie that is in your soul, because your moral compass has been distorted, perverted, and disturbed. It's been agitated to the point of evil because you've been so far removed from truth, because America never tells the truth. When you look at how, the old saying, how you get on is how you ride. Y'all know the old saying, how you get on is how you ride. Well, let's look at how America became America. We went to a land, America went to a land that the Indians already owned, lived, and occupied. They were there. Hey, Edith, the Indians already owned and occupied this land. America came to this land, killed the Indians, took charge of the Indians' communities, made some of them slaves, raped their wives and their daughters, and put a flag up. And the mastermind behind the murder was Christopher Columbus, and we give him credit for founding what was already occupied. You can't truly be the founder of something that was already occupied, already being used. No, you were a visitor. You were not the founder. So from the beginning, America was founded with lies and murder. And that seed has been breeded in the hearts of men throughout this history. And the seed have gotten in the kids and the grandkids. And if we want change, it's not going to come through the same system that enforced the slavery. No, a new system has to be put in place. Think about that 1 second. I'll be right back. Woo! All right. I needed a little break. I had to walk that off. But how America got on is through hook and crook. So if you got on through hook and crook does not change because time prevails. The seed that this system was built off is corrupt. So in order to have justice, the system has to be destroyed, and those that govern and rule the system have to be removed. If you do not remove those that are in charge of the system, see, the system is really governed by thought and the consciousness of the person in charge. So you ask this police officer that killed George Floyd, what happened? He will justify what we know to be murder. You ask the police officer, why did he shoot Justin Blake? He would justify the murder. He would justify the shooting of Justin Blake, and he would not take responsibility because it is built on how you think and feel in the moment. That is why it's so hard to bring these police officers to justice, because justice in the moment is predicated by the opinion of the one that's in charge. It's judged by their moral compass, by their personal opinion. And everyone's opinion is skewed when you're under pressure. This is why, in order to police our neighborhoods and police people that look like us, we need people that understand us to police us. We're not saying we don't need police. No, we need police. We do. We need the right police. Send them white boys to white communities or places that they're used to. Because it's so far out of control now. My fear really is to the police. It really is. Because in the same way black people shouldn't be demonized by the habits of a few, I don't believe we should demonize the police by the behavior of a few. And what will eventually happen is that black people will start to arm themselves, and when the police pull them over, they'll start killing them. Now, we don't want that to happen, and we will say how demonic that is. And we talk about Blue Lives Matter, but we will not cry with the same tenacity against police killing black. Murder is wrong. I don't care who it is. Black, blue. Yeah, all lives matter. Black lives matter. All lives, yeah, all of it. We just want you to stop killing us. No matter how you try to justify it, there are too many occurrences when black people are killed at the hands of the police. The people that should be protecting us are the ones that are killing us. And it's justified in a system that was built off of the evil consciousness of gaining an advantage. And that's what we know as white privilege. And then they even want to take away our right to talk about it. I have white friends who we're not friends anymore because I'm talking about how evil and how wrong this is. And no matter what I say, they find a way to justify the injustices. I don't care if the people were purple. I would still speak out against it. So it's not so much that I got black pride, and I do. But what's bigger than color pride is humanity. Your love for humanity should be bigger than the love for your own color. So I'm not trying to rope this thing off and elevate blackness and agitate whiteness, because I believe that we are superior. No. That's not what this is. My love for people is bigger than my love for color. The reason color even gets into the subject is because those that control the narrative are behind killing a certain color. You want to change the narrative? Stop the murder. You don't want black people to stand up and speak out against the injustices that we've experienced for over 400 years? Repent. With repentance comes restitution. Restitution, you can't repent without giving restitution. Listen, so Jesus came to die for the world, and the restitution of sin had to be paid. In order for us to live, he had to give his life. So there can't be repentance without giving, without restitution. And this country just finds every day, they find different ways to not pay, not repent. You know, as soon as a white man go to crying, y'all run and flock to his revivals and say we got to have peace, harmony, and you sing Kumbaya and lift your hands up in the air. And you call yourself worshiping the one and only true living God. But this same white man has not used his power, ability, or influence to help black people in any way other than preaching the gospel. Well, we got enough preachers. We got black preachers that do that. What we need white preachers to do is we don't need you to come to our churches and come on our platforms and talk about what's wrong. No, we need you to go back to your communities, to the places you have influence. We need you to get the hands of those that are in charge and in power. And in the same way that you endorse Trump, endorse that what's being done to black folks is wrong, and use your power and your influence to help create change. That's what we need. Justice for Justin Blake. A change of heart. And we've trained our soul, and it's become a lie because we've trained our soul to form a lie. I've got to give a shout out to my sponsors, the good people at A Taste of Miami, 1440 Dunn Avenue. Make sure you go there, get your CMOS. We're still in a pandemic. Your health is important because your health, the health of your body controls the mobility of your purpose. Your purpose can only go as far as your body. Once your body ends, I promise you, purpose for your life will end soon. Because you can't move in purpose unless your body is functional. You can yell, you got a purpose for your life, and you're sitting in a coma. There's no mobility. So the mobility of the body is extremely important in fulfilling purpose. So you got to treat that body right. How you treat your body now is going to determine the fruit that it gives birth to in your later years. The older you get, the more you're going to start seeing and feeling and experiencing what you've done to your body. Do your body right. Drink plenty of water. Get the sea moss. Their sea moss has dandelion root, burdock root. It has sour sop. All 102 minerals that the body needs can be found in their sea moss because of the things that they add with it. You need that to live. Also, if you are vegan, they have one of the best vegan menus. If you're still eating land animals, they've got fried ribs and burgers and all that. If you're a pescatarian, they have some of the greatest seafood on this side of the planet. So make sure you stop to Taste of Miami. If you like coffee, this coffee is organic. It's real. It's good. The best coffee I've had. And that coffee is at Crazy Beans Coffee. There's a new location that's going to be opening up in the heart of the city, downtown, in the JTA Transportation Building. It's going to be on the first floor. For now, I need everybody to go out to 220 Fleming Island and give Crazy Beans Coffee. Stop by and get some coffee, get some food. We've got the best chicken salad, tuna salad, croissants, breakfast sandwiches, cheesecake, cookies, all the stuff we don't need, whether it's sweet, you know, you can work it off later, but go get it. Tell them Terrance sent you. And that's at Crazy Beans Coffee. We've got to also give a shout out to Be for Life Coaching Enterprise, whether it's financial coaching, life coaching, relationship coaching. You can go to beforlife.com and they will help assist you. Trust me. You're not where you are because you're great. You are where you are because somebody great around you believed in the greatness in you and help coach you to that place of greatness. So you need to give Be for Life Coaching Enterprise. Give them a holler, give them a shout, so that you can get the things that you need, okay, to make your life better. Hey, I love all of you. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for your sponsorships. I have a praise report for you. We're going to wait till the first. I do apologize for the delay and some of the expectations that we've had as it relates to the network. The pandemic has slowed a lot of things down, but there are other things that has happened as well. And as a result of that, there's been a delay. That's all it is. It's delay is not denied. We have enough shows now for 3 months. Yeah, for 3 months of TV without having to do another one. And I'm proud of that. So we've been working, we've been diligent, and we've been a good steward over what God has blessed us with by just keep going. We've had every attack you can imagine, but we're going to keep going. We believe in what we do. We believe in who we do it for. We believe in you. So thank you for your love, your support. Thank you for your sponsorships. To those of you that would like to sponsor Coffee Time, you want to be a part of the Coffee Time family, I'm going to put the Cash App on the screen. If you could this morning, maybe you'd like to be a part and sponsor Coffee Time, commit to something monthly. You decide what that is. It could be $1 million, $5 million, $100 million. It could be $1 billion per month. It could be $100, $50, $75, $25. Whatever you believe that God has laid on your heart to support us, or you can do a one-time gift. It's totally left up to you. What you give help us continue in what we do. Help meet the payroll of this production stuff. And we're growing. We're excited. We're getting better. And we're appreciative to you and all that you give and all that you do. Keep in mind, without your ear, I don't have a voice. You make this possible. Remember, you were born to win, predestined to succeed. There's nothing that can happen to you today that the wisdom on the inside of you is not equipped to handle. But you got to calm down, slow down, be quiet. Know when to speak and when to be quiet. And let wisdom speak for you. When wisdom speak, you will always win. Go and have a great and productive day today. And always remember to think higher, speak life. Love you guys. Thank you so much for your time.